Hi, my oily friends. How are you? I'm so happy to be here with you today. And today we're going to talk about the best oils to use for your first aid kit. So for some, this might be super obvious, and for others, it may be, wow, a minute of overwhelm or discovery or whatever it is, wherever you are in your oil journey. So I'm going to give you my favorite tips and the ones that most people like to use in their first aid kits. So here we go. And this could be for traveling or for, having your first aid kit at home. There's lots of different versions of first aid kits. So what's in your first aid kit? So here is just a great overall basic oil things and non-oily things to have in your first aid kit. And then we'll get into some specific recipes and some specific oils for specific ailments that are typical first aid things that we need. So lavender is a great one. It's really good for skin irritations, burns, all that. We'll get to this. On Guard just help keeping people healthy. Peppermint, it's cooling. It's great for bug bites, headaches, all that stuff. Digestion, tummy aches. It's kind of, I used to call that doTERRA's Pepto-Bismol. Purify, also really good for bug bites of different kinds. Tea tree, which is the best for skin abrasions of any and all kinds or rashes. Frankincense is just the best because it helps all the other oils work. And when in doubt, you use frankincense. The On Guard hand sanitizing spray, just good to help keep things clean. And then TerraShield, which is the bug spray. And then Correctex, which I would say is another absolute have to. It's basically a healthy, non-petroleum based version of, something like Neosporin or something like that you might have as an ointment in your first aid kit. Anyway, and then other just little things to think of having on, like a saline wash or the hot and cold packs, tweezers, sunscreen, gloves, scissors, tape, all those things. Anyway, so that gives you kind of an idea. Maybe that'll spur a few ideas for you of something that you might not have that you could add into your first aid kit. Okay, so what are some reasons that you'd want to use oils in your first aid kit? They're multifaceted, meaning you can have one oil, one product that's good for various different things. Instead of needing, 4 different ointments or 4 different things, you can just have one bottle that'll cover all of those. They're very affordable, especially when you break it down to price per drop. It's amazing how inexpensive they are. They don't expire. Oh my gosh, if you keep these stored correctly, they're going to last for like 20 plus years or indefinitely. They're not going to go bad. They do have the date on the bottom if they're made for internal use because they have to, according to the FDA, but otherwise they're really not going to go bad. I love that aspect because back in the day before oils, my pre-oil days, I used to every year go through the first aid kit and be like, oh my goodness, this is expired and this is expired. And then have to go to the store and buy all the things that you needed to have on hand just in case you needed them or something happened. And it was so expensive. So I just remember going, oh my gosh, I've got to buy more, children's Tylenol or, hydrocortisone cream or whatever, all these random pharmaceuticals that we would use in our first aid kit. Anyway, so now we don't really ever do that. I'll have a few of those things still on hand just in case. And my gosh, they're so expired. And I thought of that the other day. I was like, oh my goodness, I went to go pull out some children's Tylenol that expired 3 years ago. I need something new. Anyway. So yeah, and they're all natural, right? We don't need to worry about what are the side effects or what, damage is this going to do to your little ones. It's just safe and they're small, they're compact. So they're not going to take up a lot of room, which is fabulous, right? All right. So the biggest thing to think of for first aid, and we don't usually think of this, right? But is to have something in there to help with emotions and to calming down. Balance is my absolute favorite. And you can put it on the person who's being treated, who's having the emergency or the accident, and the person who's doing the treating. I had this happen to me just the other day and I was like, oh my goodness, I need some balance on me so that I can take care of this, injured chicken is what I was dealing with. So one of my little chickens was injured and I needed balance on me so that I could care for her. And then we put some lavender on her as well. So it's not just for people, right? It's for our animals as too. All right. So first we have up is, what about if you're burned by like the oven? If you've, in the kitchen, you're cooking, you've burned yourself, so many different options. So lavender and Correctex are favorites. Some people love copaiba, frankincense. My favorite is tea tree or melaleuca. That is my favorite for burns, but experiment with it a little bit and see which one is best for you and your body. Tea tree was my favorite. It was my first oil experience way before doTERRA even existed. I would always use tea tree for burns. So that's been my standby, but there's so many different options for things that you can use for burns. Okay, what about itchies? If you have like a bug bite or something, we'll actually get to the bug bite in a minute, but itch relief. I love this recipe that they have here. It's with lavender, purified frankincense, and myrrh. And then you could add in lemongrass. That's if it was for chiggers, and you put it in a fractionated coconut oil in a 10 ml roller, which is the normal size rollers. Or you could just use Calmer, which has a lot of those oils in it, which is the kids' bedtime one. See, multifaceted. I love it. Or Correctex, which would be another one. Correctex is the best. Oh my gosh. Okay, so for bug bites specifically, purify lavender, copaiba, and peppermint. And this is a little, another rollerball recipe for bug bites. You know what? If you're in a pinch or you don't want to mix something up, it's too complicated, just use one of the touch rollers, whether it's lavender, tea tree, or peppermint, any of those would work. And then, and Purify is one of the best ones for bee stings, or you can also use Roman chamomile, lavender. Any of those are good ones to use for bee stings in particular. Okay, so for cuts and scrapes, the best combination is lavender and tea tree. And there's so many different recipes for this. So here's one example, and you don't need to mix up a recipe. You can simply just use those two oils and dilute it down, or use the Correctex again. So this is a little spray bottle. They just have the lavender and the tea tree, and they add some frankincense, and they did it with a little bit of half and half of witch hazel and water. Witch hazel is a natural antiseptic for your skin as well. Very good. So that's a great one. You can also follow it up with a little bit of myrrh, especially for kiddos. That's a great one. Or this recipe, which is lavender, melaleuca, and cypress. And this one has a little bit of salt in it, just to help, again, kill those germs. And this one you just spray on. It says specifically 3 times a day. I love it when they give specific instructions. It's so good. So those are some good first aid sprays. So what about bumps and bruises, like just when you bang something hard? So a few tips here. This one is a great recipe. So this one is a spray with geranium, lavender, cypress, frankincense, and helichrysum. However, if you don't have all those oils, no big deal. Use whichever ones you do have. Helichrysum is amazing for bruises, incredible. And of course, frankincense just helps with that healing power. Cypress just helps with the circulation. Lavender, geranium, again, the 2 more florals that work so well along with helichrysum. And if you don't have the helichrysum, just use the lavender or the geranium or some people use deep blue, whether it's the rub or the oil, because deep blue has helichrysum in it as well as I think cypress is in that one too. So then you'd have a few of those big gun oils in there that are going to help with the bruises and the kind of soreness that comes along with it. All right, so if you sprain something, oh gosh, isn't that the worst? Because there's like nothing you can do for it except ice and some oils. So this is a little tonic that you could kind of like soak in a washcloth and then put it on your, or just apply it, put it in a spray or something, whatever you're wanting to do. But it's apple cider vinegar, which has like amazing qualities. It helps with everything, it seems. Salt. And somebody suggested they could use Epsom salt with this. And I think, sure, why not? That's also good for muscles. A deep blue, marjoram, and lemongrass. And I think maybe even some copaiba added to that would be great as well. Of course, a frankincense wouldn't hurt. It'd also be good. Or what about broken bones? Of course, that's definitely something you want to go to the doctor for. But these are some oils that can help promote healing for broken bones. And we did this with our son, and it was wonderful. It was a great support to him. And just put it around where, if you can't access the area, you can put it just around where you can get it, or on the bottom of your feet, it will get to where it needs to go. But birch is one of my favorites for this, but wintergreen, Siberian fir, those are all really, really good oils that help support broken bones. Okay, what about a splinter? I hate splinters, they're the worst. Anyway, clove really helps with the discomfort of them. Amazing. There's also all these little tricks. Like I love this little Google I found. It's a baking soda and water paste, and you just put it on and it helps kind of fizz out the splinter. I've also tried deep blue. There's a duct tape trick where you can put it on if it's close to the surface and like pull it off and it comes out. That's if it's close. What was the other one? It just escaped me. Oh my goodness. Some people do peroxide to help bubble it out. All kinds of little tips, but sometimes if they're really stubborn and the kids are just not wanting you to pick at it, I just do Correct-X and cover it with a Band-Aid, and then it eventually will work its way out. The Correct-X really is amazing. Okay, so if you have some allergies that are out of control, so many different oils that can help. This is a huge list. My favorite, if you've never tried it, is taking a lavender on your thumb and putting it to the roof of your mouth. Does not taste the best. I do not like the taste of lavender, but it really helps bring that immediate relief. And you can just keep repeating it every 20 to 30 minutes until things calm down, or just sitting in front of the diffuser with some Breathe or lavender in it really does help as well. But here are a whole bunch of other oils that you can use to help with allergies. I also love Purify in the diffuser to help. Anyway, so many to pick from, or tea tree topically. Like it. Okay, what about heartburn? Heartburn, digest tabs are amazing. So they're just like kind of a healthy version of like a Tums or something. So you only need to do one, you just chew it up and you can take it with some water or with food, and it really does help soothe heartburn. Okay, and just like tummy issues, oh my goodness. This is a great little belly buster roller blend, and it's ginger, peppermint, and wild orange. So this is if you don't really love, maybe you don't have Digestion or you don't love it, don't love the smell of it. I really don't like the smell of Digestion, so I have a hard time with it. So I am one who's going to mix up this kind of recipe because I love ginger. I love peppermint. I also love those ginger drops. Those are so good for, especially if you're feeling just kind of nauseous or car sickness. The Tamer blend is another one of my favorites in the kids line. It's also really good for digestive issues. Yeah, all kinds of different ones you can use for tummy troubles. Okay, so that was it. And I thought I had to put in here about Correct-X, but I just want to say, I think hands down, Correct-X is definitely my favorite item to have in the first aid kit. I have one in every bag or whatever drawer. We have Correct-X kind of everywhere. So Correct-X is an essential oil ointment, and it has lavender, melaleuca, frankincense, cedarwood, and helichrysum in it. And it's amazing. We use it on everything. Cuts, scrapes, rashes, whatever, you name it. It just seems to be the easy little tiny thing that kind of fixes it all. Anyway, so thanks for joining me today. Short and sweet. I hope that you got some tips for something to use or add to your first aid kit, or something else that you could use instead, something a little healthier, a little bit better, reduce toxicity and save you a little money. And here's what we got coming up next. And I hope to see you at the next one. All right. Have a fabulous day.